Well, hello, that's me again. Today is August 11th. It is Sunday, and for some people it's the end of the Sunday. For me, it's kind of morning, and so let's talk a little bit about something which you would never, thought about, and this is a very important part of what I do, and this is military political analysis. Some people call it OSINT, which is open source intelligence, but in reality it is military political analysis. Military being first, not political military, but military political, because experienced people understand that military drives all things. Conflict is the foundation of our activity as species, because, well, pardon me, but it's biology in the end, and which also, project itself on our cultural codes and our behavioral matrices. And this is the issue which, for example, serious militaries dealt with for a long time, and they have been developing it. And here I want to remind you that last time, 2 days ago, when I was making this video, I represented to you what is the modern military political analysis for amateurs. This couch, strategic couch with strategic, all those items in terms of, basically spreading BS. And in our times, military political analysis pays. It pays in the sense that you go out and pretend that you know military, you understand how it operates, you think so that you can understand tactical, let alone operational issues involved there, and you go out and you make money. Well, that's what it is. How you make money? Subscriptions. The same as I'm making. I have people who subscribe to my channel. I have people who support me on Patreon. And this is what I do. I deliver to them military political analysis, which obviously I not only try to portray, I try to remain, to have my integrity intact and deliver what is real. And I do this on the foundation of my background. I will tell you, many people wouldn't even believe that I never thought myself, that veteran and military professional. I went through some crap in my life, related to the collapse of the Soviet Union, involving shooting. But it was only when especially when started the whole idea of this, the global war on terror started to, revolve around the tragedy of 9/11, that I suddenly recognized, and people say, hey, dude, you are former military, Soviet military, you have to express your opinions. I said, really? Okay, I never thought about it. I remained, well, grossly speaking, I'm kind of detached, aloof if you wish. But then, of course, things started to change, and after the Russian-Georgian War of 2008, I understood that, yeah, you know what, it's time. It really is time to start speaking. And I have those people who read my blog, they can go back to my blog and type in the search the Total Recall, which I put some pieces, I didn't finish it, about Total Recall, how I was coming back to my fundamental knowledge and my fundamental training, and I was expanding on it, of course, for the consideration of the modern operational, tactical, and technological realities. So that's what fundamental education allows you to do. In my case, and many people do not understand. Average Soviet and Russian officer who comes out of the military academies, they have 2 degrees. I mean, you have the bachelor's degree or undergraduate degree in military sciences, and you have the what is called graduate degree in the engineering. In my case, it was, engineering related to this, all those weapon systems, all those gyro inertial complexes, and how to integrate all those systems with the weapons, essentially. So, if you read any, how to put it, instruction or manual of the Soviet and Russian officers, guess what? the main method of the preparation of the officer is self-preparation. Obviously, for you to get the graduate degree or in military science, you go into what was the, well, roughly speaking, the equivalent of the United States War College. But in Soviet Union and Russia, these were much more profound academically and much more expanded, and they were much longer by a year at least. So, and then of course nobody talks about it. It's just for some people it's just a dream to get into the Academy of the General Staff. And even in 90s and early 2000s, there was a lot of, how to put it, substandard people going through the Academy of the General Staff, unlike what is of course today. And it is exquisite, top notch, I mean legendary educational institution in Russia, and it gives you actually PhD in military science. Yeah, Russians have the degree in military science. So, and that's what brings us to this situation in Kursk. As I already stated, and I wrote about it, you cannot become military political analyst unless you have serious military or intelligence background. And even this is not really guarantee from you delivering all kind of garbage. But here we have the, against the background of the, well, basically it's now a free hunt, you know, whatever the remnants of whatever have been thrown into Kursk Oblast. And I want to immediately stress, many people do not understand, and this is a hint. There is no martial law, actually, in those oblasts. Absolutely not. And you know what martial law, you can look it up, pretty much it will be very similar in many countries, and you can look at the judicial foundations of the martial law. No, Russia introduced the counter-terrorist operation regime. What does it mean? It means a little bit of curtailing of your civil rights, for example, like you could be stopped without any explanation and your documents checked while driving, for example, on the highway. In case of they have their, sufficient enough suspicions, they can actually break into your house if they think that there is, terrorists there. You see the difference, counter-terrorists. This is what is happening right now in Kursk Oblast and adjacent regions of the Belgorod and other oblasts there. So, but primarily it's limited to the area of the border area of Kursk Oblast. And here we have the situation. For the last 4 days, you remember this couch? It's everything what have been revolving in US media and in Anglophone media was basically reports of the nincompoops, people who have zero tactical or any other background. They have no military education. And real military education, which involves actually accepting the diploma and degree of the undergraduate degree in military sciences, apart from the graduate degree in all related military engineering. And by engineering, I don't mean course of engineer, like it is in the United States. We're talking about system integration, we're talking about all kinds of things of this nature. So we have now finally the breakthrough. Russians had enough, and public opinion, my gosh, if you go and review Russian media today and Russian public opinion, it literally revolting against the garbage and lies which all those civilian jerks, let's put it this way, the crap holes, continue to perpetuate through all those channels, and which are amplified through all kinds of the tabloids like Times of London, like New York Times, or some imbecile like what's his name, David X, or what have you. So as I already stated, journalism is not a profession, and pardon me, I mean it's garbage. I mean it's glorified philological education, and anybody with IQ above room temperature can become journalist. But none of them are serious military political analysts, because they don't have any background. And so we have suddenly, after all this garbage which they were spewing, many of those people are of Ukrainian origin, and they work for either consciously or subconsciously for the Ukrainian and propaganda. And look at this. We have the Komsomolskaya Pravda. Komsomolskaya Pravda is on the yellowish side, but it's a hugely important, very famous Russian newspaper. It's called Komsomolskaya Pravda from the times of the Soviet Union, and it's an old publication. Look what is being written on 9th of August. And they finally started to point out to those people, many of who, as I already stated, are directly connected to the, propaganda outlets of the armed forces of Ukraine, and of course, we'll talk about the West. So that's called Idiots or Provocateurs, how Russian bloggers lie about the real situation in the Kursk region in pursuit of hype. And he talks about citizens, military bloggers, and military analysts allow me as a purely civilian person to express my categorical bewilderment at your activities. And we're talking about not only, and this is a wonderful piece, you can go out and using Google Translate read it, but finally the major newspapers, major media outlets started to react. Read my lips. 99.9% of those so-called military analysts, be them in Russia or in the United States, and a bunch of these creeps who write on everywhere on Substack or anywhere and make YouTube videos, they are not analysts. They are amateurs. They are amateurs who are in it for hype and creating their situation when they can sell this garbage and make more subscriptions, because most of the people, I'm sorry guys, you do not know what the real war is and how it is planned and executed. Most of what, for example, American public, but let me put it this way, there is a large strata, especially urban hipsters in Russia, who also know about war, let alone real war, from entertainment industry. And here it is. This is what is this all about? It is only about money, hype, and for some people, I don't know, they have small male genitalia, so they probably try to somehow, realize themselves in this. So just to give you some example, famous Russian, famous indeed, Artamonov, Mr. Artamonov, he has zero background in military. The guy literally has civilian education from some, he was born into the, I believe, diplomats family. He never served a day in any capacity, yet here he goes out and speaks about everywhere about things he doesn't understand. He considers himself, he presents himself as a specialist on NATO militaries. And the guy that will not know the difference between middle range and long range air defense complex. He will not understand how to calculate required force. So there you go. Just to demonstrate to you who those people are. They write about this. Here we are. Look at this. This is Mr. Artamonov and his bunch of the people, specialists, they play a strategic stuff game. Look at these wonderful people. This is so pathetic, I cannot even explain to you that these are the literally physical representation of those people who do it purely for hype and money, donations. This is what is this all about. Because when they sell, for example, reality of Kursk, which is the counter-terrorist operation now, and you can look up now, and it's all over the place how there is a hunt now for the remnants of those armed forces of Ukraine, because it was from the get-go suicidal mission. You can take a look what they sell. They sell things which are not even there. They do not exist. They invent them, literally. And guess what? This is amplified gracefully and gratefully by the Western media. Because this is what Western media do. They hate Russian gods and they they sold for the last 20 years garbage to the Western public and basically confused, gaslighted it, and there you go. So, now, if we go now to the situation of the whole thing about Kursk, so-called battle, in reality it's already counter-terrorist operation. Again, let me remind you what I did last time. You see, U.S. Army Combined Arms Doctrine Directorate, they talk about physical advantages which are not there, but they have to generate cognitive effects in the human dimension. So, and as I already stated, there are 9 advantages there, and you can take a look at those advantages in the FM 3-0 operations. This one is the latest one, October 2022. Believe believe me, it will be required to be rewritten again, because it was written, I mean, without any relations to any reality of the armed conflict, which United States obviously lacks capability to win. But here is what he is talking about, this guy, and this is what is this all about. And they talk about an operations that's which is, look at this, this is beautifully underlined and highlighted: the ability to rapidly share information with domestic and international audiences to counter enemy malign narratives, and the ability to inform a wide range of audiences to maintain legitimacy and promote the friendly narrative. So they talk about political will, which, I'm sorry, people can, you can send me any, or you can invite me to talk to Pentagon, and I will explain to them that they don't have any political will, and they will not be able to win a real war in their lives. They never did. So, and just to demonstrate to you how this narrative, malign narrative, really exists today, you can, as I already stated, you can really go out there into the internet and see how the hunt looks now, the remnants or whatever, the couple of brigades they pulled in, and they are basically dispersed. That is why actually it is now a counter-terrorist operation, because obviously whatever the movement along those village roads, it's immediately detected, and whatever is left of the armor there is annihilated, including not just armor, the armored vehicles and things of this nature. So if you take a look at losses, here we have losses from August 11 today. As you can see yourself, tanks and APCs dropped somewhat. It's 18, because obviously when you annihilate the main mass of things, you have very fewer targets to basically annihilate. Still, armored vehicles are solid, 33, and artillery and mortars, 23. And as you can see yourself, killed and wounded, well, around 2,000, 1,930. This is only what the Minister of Defense can confirm. But as you can see yourself, cognitive effects, that's the only way they can know how to fight war in Washington. So we have now this thing. Well, yeah, guess what? They created the fake, the combination of the pieces of Maria Zakharova's speech, and this is what they talk about. This is the only word they can do: PR, cognitive effects, because obviously they cannot, and Ukraine is the best proxy United States ever had. In fact, it is a NATO army, and whatever left of it now anyway. So in Moscow slams screwed forgery deep fake video, a video in which Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova offers to hand to the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant back to Ukraine in exchange for Kiev calling off its military incursion into Russia's Kursk region is a crude forgery, the Minister of the Foreign Affairs said on Saturday. And as I already stated, even if you look at the comments of my videos, you have immediately all those Ukrainians and those fanboys from whatever organizations in the Western world who begin to, spread all kinds of garbage. And so Foreign Minister says that we emphasize Maria Zakharova never said anything like that. The authentic comments of the official representative for the Russian Foreign Ministry are available on the Telegram channel and on the official resources of the ministry, the statement concluded. So this is what they do. They invent things. They make them up. They make, for example, as I already returning to those what is called military analysts, some of them who in Russia, for example, are directly working along the guidelines of the, CIPSO, the Center of the Psychological Operations of Armed Forces of Ukraine, and main Intelligence Directorate of Armed Forces. And of course, you can see the prints of CIA and MI6 all over the place. They are only good at this on PR. They really do not know how to fight real war. They don't have ability, they don't have experience. So, and that's what's left. And guess what? They are all over. If I have my Russian Telegram channel, you have, oh my God, there's like, battalions of those people marching around. You have to clean up periodically their discussions on those channels, because you immediately see it. It's very easy to pin them down because they are primitive. Even this propaganda is primitive. This is not even propaganda. They lie. They just make things up. And The situation, however, as they like to point, is that, oh my God, that should have, stopped Russian advances. Well, it's not, nothing stops Russian advances. Actually, in the Pokrovsk axis, operational axis. And here, for example, we have the real estate. This is from yesterday, and the security forces reported on the replacement of the armed forces of Ukraine with a female unit. And believe me, this is not just one unit. There are already a number of female units, and this is in Lugansk area, the Kremina, they call it, but Kreminaya region, replacing one of the assault formations from among the mobilized. The security forces told TASS. Here also the interlocutor added that the effectiveness of women units at the front is extremely low. They are really, however, Ukrainian women are sadistic. They are brought up that, for example, God forbids if you are Russian to, be taken prisoner of war, especially wounded or something, they will torture you. This is what they do. And by the way, even Irish, journalist begins to say, today, openly, Western media consistently avoids telling you about Kyiv's attempt to bomb civilian infrastructure in Russia. That's the only thing they can do. In a single night, Russian air defense today shot down 14 Ukrainian drones and 4 U tactical missiles over Kursk. 16 aircraft-type drones were shot down over Voronezh, 3 over Belgorod, and 1 each over Bryansk and Oryol. So this is what they do. They do not attack military objects. They shoot them, just hoping that they break through, like it happened with Kursk, with this house, and civilians will suffer. This is NATO. This is how NATO fights. I mean, as I already stated, there's let's drop the pretense and masks about this. They are only good to breaking your doors and just killing you or something, intimidating you. That's about it. In real combined arms warfare of scale, United States doesn't really register. In fact, as I already stated, there was many admissions, and at this time, you know what? It's almost like is this famous moment from wonderful movie called Runnings. If you remember Leon stating, he constantly referring that to, well, Swiss this and Swiss that, and until the guys, the Jamaican bobsled team tells him, oh, shut up, because they couldn't take it anymore. It is the same goes for the Gulf War. Please shut up. It was militarily insignificant. You beat the freaking 5-year-old kid in the sandbox with impunity, and they think that they are so good. No, you're not. And fact is, again, Russians are not idiots. They are actually pretty good. And they've been looking operationally and all this. You cannot learn anything from that. Even American analysts were talking about it, that basically, the real wars are not fought like this. But go try to figure, and explain it to all those fanboys who masturbate to all kinds of the, obsolete American equipment. And today, one of the, commanding officer of one of the regiments, air defense regiments, well, it's air defense, but it's Air Force essentially. They fly all kinds of those, fighter interceptors from MiG-31BM to say, oh, please, bring those F-16s. We already have, what it meet them with. Again, and this is repeating constantly that, what, if you're a serious military analyst or military political analyst, you already know that United States lost the arms race. It's not even funny. And as I already stated, so their last trump card, so to speak, was to supply those F-16s, which all will be shut down. So there you go. That's how good, quote unquote, they are. And I'm not being facetious. It is ridiculous now. So, and it's like beating crap out of children. So, and then we have this situation. If that hasn't been enough, oh my God, it's just ridiculous. We have this British Airways complaints now that halts flights to major city. Well, major city, it's not, as you can understand, it's a trick of those low lives in media. It also, applies to Russian media. They're low lives, most of them anyway. And they don't even write why, what is major city. The name of this major city is Beijing. It is not just major city. It is uber major city, which means for the world way more than any freaking London. But yeah, they like it for you to click. This is how they do, because you want to ask, what is this major city? Classic psychological operations, people. This is how it works. All BS. I mean, this is the only thing they can do. So British Airways has announced a temporary halt to its Beijing flights, with services suspended from October until at least November 2025. However, the airline Shanghai and Hong Kong routes will continue as normal. This move comes amidst restriction on European carriers entering Russian airspace, which has made trips to China lengthier due to the need to detour around Russia, lengthening flight times by several hours. These restrictions stem from Russia's Civil Aviation Authority response to the UK ban on Aeroflot in February 2022, linked to sanctions over the conflict in Ukraine. So, as you can see yourself, as our good friend Bernard from Moon of Alabama beautifully noted, the sanctions are working after all. They work obviously in the opposite direction, but other than this, yeah, it's true. And so, so they complain, yeah, and now it's not just British. There are a bunch of other numerous airlines are once again canceling flights to China. And with the war that results after Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022, now edging into the third year, Western airlines face major challenges. We know they face major challenges, and they should have been thinking about it when they were doing this. I know Virgin Atlantic is not flying anymore, and a bunch of others, which of course, guess what, creates a very favorable condition for the Chinese carriers. They making business now because guess what, Chinese are friends. They fly through Russian airspace. So there you go. Simple as that, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. This is how it works. This is how it always worked. But Combined West decided to shoot itself in the foot, although some people say that they decided to shoot themselves in the temple, which is more likely, but it is what it is. And in conclusion today, I want to talk about, and it's kind of hodgepodge today a little bit, but here it is. Here's wonderful, it's in Russian. This is what it means for Russia to enroll into the armed forces. And by the way, the Russians get about 1,000 volunteers enrolling and signing contracts with the Ministry of Defense per day. So you see, practically everything which is spoken or written or presented in the Western media is garbage about Russian armed forces and its reserves. So, well, look at this. So when they sign the contract, their single payout for the contract from federal authorities is 400,000 rubles. Then additional regional pays, also one time, up to from 400,000 rubles. For example, in Moscow, you can get actually up to 1.9 million, 1.2 million in Rostov region, or more than 1 million in Tatarstan. So in St. Petersburg, almost 1 million. So, and the least amount, no less than 2,100,000 rubles, 210,000 rubles. And every day, for example, 4,240 rubles for each day in participation in a special military operation, and 8,000 rubles per day for participation in active offensive actions. So, and from, as they show you here, about 190,000 Russian people signed contract with the Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation starting from 2024. So, and there are all kinds of their pays out of there, so like 50,000 rubles for each kilometer of the advancement in the complement of the storm detachments, 100,000 to 300,000 for the annihilation of the tank, helicopter or airplane, not for the combat pilots though. They will, F-16s are really good, 15 million rubles. So if you capture the Leopard, Abrams, Challenger or any launch of the HIMARS, you will get 1 million million rubles. So it is a very generous pay, and as already stated, many people still do not understand that Russia has all money to continue it for years and years to come until the whole thing is wiped out. And well, Western public, and I am part of Western public, but most of the Western public, of course, can still continue to rely on what is called legacy corporate BS media, and those BS media obviously love their sons of bitches, which are all those people, like I showed you, those boys, fanboys and fangirls who never served a day in military, in real military, let alone in officer capacity, let alone starting from the tactical level, being capable to have command tactical unit. And tactical unit starts from the platoon and higher. For example, me with my position before I went into the staff, I was essentially the company commander. So and then I went to the staff work, and this is equivalent, naval equivalent of what I have been doing. But again, I have the degree also in the and as that qualifies me as any other graduate of the naval academies in Russia. It's the commander of the platoon of the naval infantry, Marines, essentially. So yeah, we've been taught tactics, we have been taught all kinds of things of this nature. So anyhow, this is what I wanted to tell you guys today, and because being military political analyst, I want to first express my profound gratitude to my wonderful patrons, and as usual, guys, those who like what I do, please subscribe to my channel, and those who can afford, please support me on Patreon or buy me a coffee too. This is what keeps me going. This is what allows me to actually deliver to you. I'm not saying it's all 100% correct, but high probability, or that means reliability and veracity of the news. And the news for Russia are good. So they are really bad for Ukraine, or whatever is left of it. And if you want to take a look, yesterday news, yeah, there was a fireworks all over the place there. And they actually don't have lights since yesterday, I believe. All of them, practically. So anyhow, this is what I wanted to tell you guys. And what can I say? Have a nice rest of your weekend. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.